Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 Lightroom Classic tips. If you're new to Lightroom Classic, I think you'll find these tips to be useful. If you've been using Lightroom Classic for a while, you probably know most of these tips, but hopefully there's one or two here that are new to you that will help you use Lightroom Classic more effectively. So let's start with tip 1, auto tone. Now it's not auto tone like you might be thinking. For example, if I open up the basic tab, you may be thinking that I'm referring to clicking on the auto button and getting an auto tone adjustment. Well, that will give you an auto adjustment, and when you do that, it will automatically adjust temperature, tint, all these sliders in the tone section, and vibrance and saturation. Doing an auto adjustment will not automatically adjust these 3 present sliders. What I'm talking about, though, is doing an auto adjustment for each individual slider. To do that, let me reset this by clicking here. Hold in the Shift key and then double click on the name of a slider. For example, we'll double click on highlights while holding in the Shift key. I just automatically did a highlights adjustment. Hold in that Shift key, double click on shadows. Hold in the Shift key, double click on whites. Shift key, hold in, double click on blacks. We'll jump down here to vibrance, do the same thing while holding in the Shift key. We could go up to temp and tint as well while holding in the Shift key, and you could see that I automatically adjusted each of those sliders individually by holding in the Shift key. Now, curiously, let me reset this. The adjustment I did individually will be different than this auto adjustment. So it's a different adjustment. But I often use this, for example, is I'll maybe do a whites or a highlights and shadows adjustment, and then I'll get an automatic white and blacks adjustment by holding in the Shift key and double clicking on each of those sliders to make it go faster. So that's typically how I do it, but you may do it a different way. You may want to do it to get a automatic temp adjustment. You may want to, or maybe you want automatic vibrance and saturation adjustment. It's up to you how you use it, but remember, just hold in the Shift key, double click on the name of any of those sliders. And again, it won't work with texture clarity or dehaze. Number 2, resets. You may already know that to reset any slider, you could just double click right on the name of the slider, right? And you'll reset that slider to its default position. Did you know that if you want to reset an entire section, you could double click on the name? So if I want to reset all these sliders that are in the tone section, just double click on tone and I'll reset those. If I want to reset these in the white balance section, double click on WB. If I want to reset these down here, this vibrance and saturation, even if I had these adjusted manually, I could reset those by double clicking on the word presence. Now, alternatively, you can, if you want, hold in the Alt or Option key, Alt if you have PC Option if you have a Mac, and you can see that each of those turn into reset in the name, and then you can just click once. If you want to do it that way, you always have that option. Tip number 3, the toolbar. You probably have noticed it, but didn't know that it had a name. It's this little piece of real estate that is just above the film strip and just below the image. It's called the toolbar, and you could make that appear and disappear by tapping the T key on your keyboard, and that will make the toolbar come and go. What you may not know is that you could kind of control exactly what is shown on the toolbar if you're in the library, the develop, or the map module. Now the toolbar is there for the other modules as well, but what's in the toolbar is set. You can't change it. Now let's go to the library module, and you'll notice that I have a lot of stuff here. I have different views, I have sorts, I have star labels, color labels, star ratings, stuff like that. If I go to the far right, see this little downward arrow? If I open that or click on that, a little menu appears. And here you'll see I have view modes checked, I have sorting checked, flagging checked, rating checked, color label checked, rotate check. If I want navigate on there, just check it. And then I have navigate on there. If I want slideshow on there, just check. And I got slideshow on there. If I want to remove stuff, so I want to remove slideshow, I don't want that. I want to remove navigate, I don't want that. If I don't want view modes, these are these way over here. If I don't want those, just remove the check mark. Now what is available to be in the toolbar is different depending on whether you're in the library developer map module. So what's in the library module, you have quite a bit available here. If you go over to the Develop module, you still have quite a bit available, but not as much, and there's different stuff here. So you have zoom and stuff like that, which I don't think is in the library. If we go over to the map, and we go here, you'll notice that I have everything showing. There's only 4 things available in the map module. Now again, if you're in any of the other modules, a toolbar is there, but you can't control what is available on the toolbar. So the toolbar, you may not even know it's there and that it's called the toolbar. You may not want it there. Just tap the T key if you don't want it there. Okay, number 4, the level tool. Let's go to a different image. Let's go over to the Develop module, and often for an image, we just use auto level. So this image obviously is very crooked. So we'll open up the crop tool and we'll click auto. And sometimes when we do that, it kind of didn't do it right. It doesn't look like it's quite level. Well, there is a level tool and it's super easy to use. So let's go back here and let's reset this. The level tool is right here. It's next to this angle slider. You can try to adjust it with the angle slider, but it's very difficult to do. Take this level tool, click on it, and your cursor becomes the level tool. Then find something in the scene that in real life is perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical. It could be either or. In this case, there's nothing here that I'm sure is perfectly vertical. These windmills probably are, but they're way off in the distance. It will work better if you have something that is longer or bigger in the frame. But I know this kind of water line here is probably perfectly horizontal. So I'll go to the far left, click with the left mouse button, hold it in. You'll see I'm drawing a line out. Just draw to the other end. It ends right here, and let go. And you just straightened it that way. So that is the angle tool. When you're satisfied with that, just close down the crop tool and you'll have it automatically straightened that way. Number 4, crop overlays. Staying with the crop tool. You probably know that by default, when you're using the crop tool, you'll be looking at a rule of thirds overlay, and that's what we see here. But actually, Lightroom Classic has several different overlays, and to access them or to cycle through them, hit the O key on your keyboard. So if I hit the O key once, you can see that I have this rectangle pattern. If I hit the O key again, you can see I have this, I call it a diamond pattern. I'm not sure what it's officially called, but you can see there's a diamond right in the middle. That's why I call it that. Hit the O key again, and you can see we have just kind of a bullseye or, cross right in the middle. Hit the O key again, we have this diagonal, this kind of triangle pattern, I think is officially called triangles. And you'll notice too that at least on my screen, it's showing that the longest diagonal line is going from the upper left to the lower right. I could change that by holding in the Shift key and tapping the O key. Now I shifted it. To shift it back, Shift O again. So you could kind of move that one if you want. Hit the O key again, and then we'll have this golden ratio, it's called. And it's similar to rule of thirds, but you can see it's just, the lines are in different spots. We'll hit the O key again, and we have the golden spiral. Now this is another one that you could flip around by holding in that Shift key and tapping the O key. So you could put this area where it kind of resolves. You could put something important right there with your cropping when you use this one, like that. Hit the O key again, and then we have this crop overlay for 4x5, 5x7, 2x3. Hit the O key again. We have this really tight grid, and hit the O key one more time, and we're right back where we started with our rule of thirds. So crop overlays, just remember to hit that O key, and then on some of them where you could flip them around, hit Shift O. Number 6, targeted adjustments. Targeted adjustments are available in the tone curve and into the mixer. They're in the mixer section of the color mixer. For example, here, let's go to, let's say, luminance. I could come in, I know the sky is blue, the water is blue, and I could go to this blue slider, right, and move it around to make it brighter or darker. Well, I could target this with this tool right here. It's this little kind of donut circle. Click on it, and your cursor turns to it. Then what you could do is just click on a color or an area or something in the image and drag your mouse up or down to adjust that corresponding color slider, either lower or higher. So I'll click on the blue sky, and one thing will happen when I click, my cursor will disappear. But if I push, I'm pushing my mouse up now, and you'll notice that not only is the blue slider moving, but that aqua slider is moving a little as well, and the sky and the water is getting lighter. If I pull my mouse down, you'll see everything's getting darker. Those are targeted adjustment. Now this comes in really handy if you have a color and you're not really sure which color sliders might affect that color, maybe this like sand. And you can see when I'm moving this, the orange and the yellow are moving together for the sand, if you want to call that sand. But you can see what it's doing. And I'm in the luminance section, but this is also available, of course, in the saturation and the hue section as well. And that's when you're in this specific HSL mode. If you're in the color mode, you can see it's not available there. So you have to be in the HSL mode. And I like this one. If you're in this all category, it's available there too. You have 3 of them, one for hue, one for saturation, one for luminance. Personally, I prefer to be in them individually, but I think I'm in the minority on that. I think most people like to see everything all at once, but whatever works for you, use this specific targeted adjustment tool for either hue, saturation, or luminance. It's not available at all in point color. And I mentioned at the top of this section that it's also available with the tone curve. So you'll notice it's right here. So what you could do here is you could click on it, click on a tone, the beach, let's say. And you'll notice as I move around, notice there's a point on the diagonal line on the tone curve that's moving around. That's the tone that will get affected. And again, if I click and push up, I'm pushing the curve up. If I pull down, I'm pulling it down. So it's available there as well. Now, one little tip, again, to reset this, I could just double click on that word adjuster, hold in that Alt Option key, and I'll get that reset. So if you do have a curve and you want to reset it, just double click and you'll reset it. So that's going back to tip number 2 to reset something. Those are targeted adjustments. Tip number 7, here's some brush tips. This is any brush in Lightroom Classic. So it could be a mask brush, or it could be any of the eraser or removal brushes, whether you're using the heel brush or the clone brush. This will apply to any of those brushes. First of all, we have the brush, right? You probably already know that you could adjust the size of the brush, of course, with the slider or with the bracket keys. The right bracket key will make it larger, left bracket key smaller. What you may not know is that if you hold in the Shift key and you hit those bracket keys, you'll affect the feathering. So you could see that I'm increasing the feathering with the right bracket key while holding in the Shift key, and I'm decreasing the feathering with by holding in the Shift key and hitting the left bracket key. Also, if you have a mouse that has either a center wheel on it, like most PC mouses do, or if you have an Apple Magic Mouse like I do, you could affect the size of the brush with your finger by just dragging on the Apple Magic Mouse or on that wheel for the PC mouse. You can do the same thing. You also could affect the feathering, just holding the Shift key while you're either dragging your finger on that Magic Mouse, or if you have that center wheel, you're just moving that center wheel while holding in the Shift key. So those are some things you could do with that. Now, one little tip I'll give you real quick. Let's go to a masking brush. You could draw a straight line with any of the brushes, not just the masking brush, any brush. You could draw a straight line. To do that, let me get a smaller brush by hitting the left bracket key, is you would click once. Let's take exposure all the way down. Click once on the far left, hold in the Shift key, click once at the other end, and you'll draw a perfectly straight line. And you could do that as much as you want, like that. So that's how you would draw straight lines with a brush. And again, that's any brush, not just a masking brush, but any brush that's in Lightroom Classic. You'll be able to draw straight lines very easily with that. Okay, tip number 8. Different ways you could maybe put more focus on your image. So you just edited it and it's kind of busy. You got this film strip down here, you got stuff over here, stuff up here. You might even have this left thing open and you're looking at the image and, did you edit it right? Well, what you could do is tap the L key once, and that's called Lights Dim. And what you'll do is you'll dim everything around the image. Tap the L key a second time and it's lights out. So everything's black around the image and you're just seeing the image. Tap the L key a third time and you're right back where you started. Alternatively, you could tap the F key and go to full screen. And you're looking at the image full screen. Tap the F key again and you'll be right back where you started. Now here's a bonus tip. If you are in full screen mode, you'll see this border over here. It's kind of a light gray for me. If you right click on that, I could change that to white or dark gray, darker gray, whatever you like. You could do that. I kind of like darker gray, I think. Hit that F key again and we're right back where we started. Now, another bonus tip, if you want to change the frame around the image here, you can do the same thing. Right click on it and you can see I like dark gray, but let's say I wanted white for whatever reason, or if I wanted black. But you could change it just by right clicking. So that was a bonus tip that's not part of the actual tips, the 10 tips I'm giving you in this. Now, another thing I want to talk about is sometimes I like to do alternate edits. So for example, I have this image, I think I edited it already. No, I didn't. This unedited image. Let's go to an edited image. Here's one. All right, I edited this image already, say even cropped it square and all that stuff. Maybe I want to explore different ways to edit it. There's a couple different things I could do. The first thing I could do is create a virtual copy. To create a virtual copy, you could right click like on the thumbnail here and go to create virtual copy. Or I think it's Command apostrophe on a Mac. Yeah, and Control apostrophe on a PC and you'll create the virtual copy. Now the virtual copy isn't making a copy of the image on your hard drive. It's virtual. It's just kind of a catalog copy. So in this one, I could do a different edit. So let's say on this one, I'm going to do a black and white edit just for the sake of argument. Alternatively, if I don't want to use virtual copies, because it does kind of get cluttered down here in the film strip, what I can do is I could make a snapshot. So we'll go over here and we'll open up snapshots. We'll click the little plus sign and I'll call this color. You give it a name if you want, or you could use its default name that it gives. So this is my color snapshot. Now for this one, I'll again do a black and white, and then maybe here we'll just, so it even looks kind of different. Okay, so we just did this adjustment here. We'll create another snapshot and we'll call this black and white and hit enter. All right, so now we have the two snapshots. If I go and I want to go back to that color one, just click here. And now I have my color image. There's my black and white image. I prefer to use snapshots. I don't like my film strip cluttered up with virtual copies. So that's the way I prefer to use snapshots. So try one or the other and see what works for you. All right, another feature I want to talk about is called Auto Advance. And this is the 10th and final tip that I'm going to give you. Let's say you're culling images. So you're in the library module and you're going through images, and let's just say you could use pick flags, you could use star ratings, or you could use color labels. It doesn't matter. I prefer to use flags. So I use a pick flag to pick it, or if I'm not sure, I just don't give it a flag at all, or I give it a reject flag. And I use keyboard shortcuts, right? So if I wanted to pick this image, I'd give it a white flag by tapping the P key on my keyboard, and I just flagged it as a pick. Now, what would be really cool and make this go a lot faster is if it would automatically advance to the next image. Now, there is a menu shortcut or a menu option for this. If you go up to Photo, Auto Advance right here. But the thing is, when you turn it on, you got to remember to turn it off. So you have to go up here again. What you can do instead is just turn on your caps lock. So with caps lock on, you've temporarily turned on Auto Advance. So on this one, if I give it that pick flag by tapping the P key, it'll automatically advance to the next one. If I don't like this one, let's say I want to delete it, I'll give it the X key, or I'll tap the X key to reject it. This one I'm not sure, just hit the U key so you're unsure. This one I kind of like, so let's give it the P key to pick it. This is that virtual copy. I probably want to delete that. Tap the X key. This one, I'm not sure. I could either hit the right arrow key, you could do that as well. Or this one, maybe I want to give it a star rating, so I'll give it a 3-star rating. Then I went to this one. Now maybe this one, I want to give a red color label. So I hope I didn't give it a red color label. I gave it a 1-star rating. But to get the red color, I think red is 6, right? Yeah, so I'd hit the 6 key to give it a red color label. This one, a yellow color label, hit 7. So you could do it that way. And then when you're done culling your images, just tap that caps lock key again to turn it off. And then you won't auto advance when you give these star ratings, color labels, or flags. So that's it. That's 10 Lightroom Classic tips. I hope these help you use Lightroom Classic more effectively. If you could do me a favor, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and share and like this video. It would help a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.